What's up, Shay Bays? It's your girl Simply Shay here, back with yet another video. Today's word of the day is God's timing. So without further ado, let's go.
Simply Shay, Simply Shay.
Hey Shay with the word of the day. Rumble with the things you say. It's your girl Simply Shay. The spiritual word of the day. It's Simply Shay. It's Simply Shay. It's Simply Shay.
Simply Shay, Simply Shay.
Simply Shay.
Simply Shay, Simply Shay, Simply Shay.
Alright, so like I said, today's word of the day is God's timing. And first I must say, I feel so great to be making another video. You know, I tell you guys all the time that sometimes you have to take time for yourself, whether that's mentally, spiritually, whatever you got to do to get yourself right, make sure that you're okay, and in a good space. You definitely have to do that. And so I tell y'all, I never want to make a video that's disingenuous. I never want to make a video and not be in a good space, or you know what I mean, just kind of throw something together for you guys. And that's kind of been what this past month-ish has been for me. It's been super chaotic. Like, if I were to have put out videos, they wouldn't have been good videos, and I didn't want to just throw something together for you guys for the sake of saying that I put up a video. But no need to tarry. What I want to talk to you guys about is God's timing. And so my family and I went on a family vacation, well, like July 21st or something like that. And it was our very first family vacation that we've ever been on. I know it sounds pretty crazy, but it very much so was our very first family vacation, and it was an honestly really amazing opportunity. We had a great time playing, joking, going to the beach, amusement parks, and all of these different things. But one significant thing that happened during this time was on my way back. We went to Daphne, Alabama, which when I looked originally, when we first made it to the Airbnb that we were staying in, I searched how long it would take for me to get home from there. And it said 5 hours and like 30 minutes or 40 something minutes. I'm like, cool, like that's not bad. That's almost half of what I do to get home to New Orleans. And so when we prepared to go back and I put it back in my GPS, it went up to 6 hours and 40 something minutes. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm like, well, maybe, you know, we're leaving a little bit later. I guess I gotta think about like traffic in Atlanta once I get to Atlanta, and those different things. And as I drove, my mom called and she was like, hey, you know, how you feeling? Are you sleepy? And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm just listening to some music, vibing, like I'm good. And she goes, well, hey, make sure you make time for him today. And I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, you know, we've been listening to a lot of different music. You know, this has been a vacation. She was like, you know, but make sure you make time for him during your ride. You know, you got 6 hours ahead of you. Make sure you make time for him. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, I'll probably, like, my last 2 hours I'll spend, you know, in praise and worship and all those things. I just want to get riding, listening to my music and just different things like that. And about an hour or so into my ride, I started to realize time kept being added on. Like, literally, and I kid you not, it was as if my time was not going down but adding on. I went from arriving there at home at 7:11 to 7:15 to 7:20 to 7:35 to 7:55, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is insane. Like, what's going on? Like, it wasn't like I was driving slow. Not that I was speeding or anything, but still, it wasn't like I was driving slow or anything. So I'm like, what is going on? And finally, I got to a place where it was just like bumper to bumper traffic. My music went out, like to the point where I couldn't even get my gospel music to start playing. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I heard the Holy Spirit say, I'm making time for me. And y'all, when I tell you that moment that I had in the car, in that little bumper to bumper traffic, I'm sure the people that were looking into my car probably thought I was crazy. I'm crying and Lord and lifting my hands like whole 9 yards in my car in the middle of traffic. And I kid you all not, as I was in bumper to bumper traffic, my time started to go down. It went from 7:55 to 7:45. No, to 7:44, because it went down in increments of 11. 7:44, 7:34, like it went down in increments of 11, which had me kind of like, okay, Lord, what are you trying to say? And I went and looked up the number 1 and all that jazz, which you guys can search for yourself what that means. But it correlated with a lot of the things that the Holy Spirit was telling me in that time in my car. And as I was driving, I had my gospel music playing for a while, and just was listening and worshiping God. Got out of traffic, and about an hour or so later, I changed the radio station. I started to get sleepy, and I'm like, okay, I need something that's gonna uplift me and all that jazz. And basically the point of this is how a lot of us prolong the time that an amount of time it would have taken for us to accomplish something, because we don't listen, because we simply don't make time for God, because we simply don't seek his face, because we simply didn't stop to speak to him that day, didn't stop to give him a little time when we had free time. I was so busy worried about, oh, I want to listen to this song, and I want to listen to that, and I want to jam to this, and I want to have a jam session. And it wasn't that it was wrong, but God needed time for me in that moment. There were some things that he needed to tell me. There were some things I needed to hear in that moment, that because I wasn't trying to give him time, I missed out on it. So he had to make time. And so I want to encourage you guys to give God his time. Whenever you have a down moment, don't be so quick to use it for your pleasures. Don't be so quick to use it for the things that you want to do, and the things that your flesh is pushing you to do. I saw a meme, or whatever you want to call it, and it said, the reason why your flesh pushes you to do certain things is because it can't go to heaven with you. And I was just like, wow, that is so true. And so I just want to encourage you all to use your time wisely. Give God his time. Don't give him his time as an afterthought or as the second thing. Allow him to be the first thing. Allow him to be the first thing, your person you speak to in the morning. The first thought, your first thought should always be that of God. Well, hey, how can I use this time to give God his time? And guess what? Afterwards, it's not saying that you can't then listen to what you want to listen to, go where you want to go, and do those different things, but you first have to give him his time. So I hope that this gave you guys something to think about, encouraged you a little bit, gave you a little to go into the rest of the week. And remember, guys, continue to grow and glow. Bye.